welcome to my channel. In this video we will be actually working on our RTK query to read the data. So if you followed my previous video, this is what we will be building, and we'll be working on CRUD operation. This is read, and this should let us create, and this should let us edit, and this should let us delete. So let's get started. I just typed npx create React app and I named it frontend. It's going to take some time, so I did it already, and now I have this folder created. I'm going to go inside source and delete some files that we won't be using. I'm just going to keep app.js and index.js here. Now let's go inside our frontend. And I'd like you to go inside our React Redux Toolkit and click on getting started. I'm not going to use any template. I'll copy this and paste it and add React Redux. And the next thing I'd like to do is install router. I like this w3schools.com because we're just going to use 3 links. So this is very easy to use. And I will paste it here. Make sure you're inside this front end, okay? Alright, so go to app.js, remove everything, and we can copy this browser router and paste it here. And let's copy this, paste it here, and I'd like to go ahead and create a folder named components and another folder named features. Inside features we'll be adding the name of models. So inside features I'll add notes. We might be having models like users, books, so you can add various folders specific to model name. So inside components I'll add a file home.js and another file named layout.js, and inside notes I'll add a file readnotes.js, and I will add another file also that's going to create note.js. And I'd like to go inside layout.js space and scroll down. So if you read carefully, this is layout.js code. Copy this and paste it here. Now here we're like, so this is going to be the endpoints that we use in our controller. So read notes and create note. I'll change it to read notes. Save it and go to your app.js, and here let's change this to endpoint read notes and create note. Home and layout is already there, so this should be changed to read notes. And let's import these components. Features, notes, two more, home and layout. That's it. I guess that's all we need to do for our routing to work. Let's go inside frontend and type npm start. Okay, so let's go inside our file and see what's going on. So go to index.js and remove few things that we already removed from our list. And let's also remove this. We don't have this file. And let's see if this works or not. So if these kind of warnings come, you need to understand that it's there because we don't have anything inside home page. So I'll use RAFCE, save it, and also inside read notes, save it, save it. That error should go away. Yeah, that did go away, but we have another error. says there is a conflict. So this should fix our problem. I don't know why that was there. So our router works properly. We're just going to work on read nodes today. Let's close everything. I'd like to go ahead and click on source folder and create a folder again named app, and inside app I'd like to create a folder named API, and inside API I'll create a file API slice.js, and inside app, not inside API, inside app let's create a file named store.js. Let's start by working on our API slice.js. We'll import create API. Toolkit slash query slash React. And we'd also like to import fetch base query. As I mentioned earlier, fetch base query is just like Axios, and create API will help us create the API. We're going to use this create API, and it's an object. We have three things inside this. The first thing would be base query, and the other thing would be tag. Let's put a comma here, tag types, and let's put a comma here, and the last thing that we will be using here would be I'm confused. I'll work on base query first. I'm going to use fetch base query, and inside fetch base query we have, this is just like an Axios, so we're going to use base URL inside fetch base query, and the base URL would be the link. If you go inside this, let's copy this. We will be referring a lot to this code because it's very confusing and it's a lot to understand. And the thing that I had forgotten was endpoints, very important. So tag types would be node for now, string, and endpoints. And we're going to use builder to build endpoints, And that's all. Let's save it and let's work on our store.js file. We're going to import configure store. We're going to import API slice that we just created. So export const store, and we are going to configure our store. Once again, we have three things inside this object. Okay, so as you can see this, it has reducer, it has middleware, and it has dev tools. So reducer, middleware, and dev tools. We're going to make it true in dev tools, and inside reducer object, and we're going to pass the reducer path. So it's going to always API slices reducer path. Sorry, be inside this bracket. Reducer path. The intelligence helps us a lot here, and this will be API slice dot reducer. Okay, and inside middleware, we're going to use default middleware, and we are going to concat API slice with the middleware. Okay. Middleware such that, and this is a function, and we are going to use concat, and we're going to pass API slice dot middleware, and that's it. Now we will be using this store.js inside index.js, but let's import the provider. Okay, so we're going to import provider from React Redux. And we will be importing store also. That we just created inside app slash store. Okay, let's save it and let's wrap this provider inside app. So, and we're going to pass store, and let's wrap it, and let's save it, and that should be it. And now the next thing we'd like to do is inside notes.js, I'd like to create a file named notes API slice.js. Using this notes API slice.js, we will be injecting endpoints inside our API slice. Okay, so let's understand this slowly. We will be using a concept called entity adapter. So import this entity adapter will help us normalize the data into IDs and entities. So import create entity adapter, and we are also going to use create selector. And we are going to import API slice. We are going to import API slice because this is the base. We will be injecting endpoints here, and this builder will build the endpoints that we inject. Okay, so to get started, we need our initial state. An initial state is like a normalized object with IDs and entities. Without that, we will not be able to do anything. So const nodes adapter, create entity adapter. We're using this nodes adapter because we will be having multiple models, and we will be having, let's say, users model, and then inside users we'll be creating this users API slice.js, where we will be referring the entity adapter normalized data into users adapter. So we'd like to use the name of model before adapter. Okay, and now let's create our initial state by const. We'll use this nodes adapter dot, and the intelligence will give you, if you type get, it's going to give you get initial state, and it's a function, and that's it. This should be giving us the initial state, and the initial state is we have a bug here. Okay, and this is what I wanted to show you guys. This is the initial state with entities and IDs. It's just going to create and has nothing right now. Okay, all right, now export const API slice equals. Now here, this is all about building the endpoints and working on our endpoints. Okay, so we're going to type API slice, which is this file, and we're going to inject endpoints inside this file. Okay, dot inject endpoints, a function with an object, and we have endpoints here. And inside endpoint, we're going to type the function with an object, and this builder is similar. If you see this, it's going to build endpoints. Okay, that's exactly what we are using here. This builder will build endpoints, help us build endpoints, and our endpoint will be read notes. And this is same as if you go inside our app.js file, it's same as the path. Okay, endpoints, that's what it's all about. And inside this read note endpoints, we're going to do builder.query. Query, we are using query in read notes because we are asking for some data. If we wanted to create, update, and delete, we'd use mutation, which will come later in next video. And inside this query, inside builder.query, we'll be building a query, and this query is a function with an arrow, and it has a route. Okay, slash, I guess, slash API slash nodes. So if you go inside server.js, you will see this route. That's exactly what we are using here. Okay, And just like query, we have few more things that we can use over here, like validate status. So just means that we're going to validate the status if the response is 200 and if there is no error, then only the status is validated. So response and result will be passed, and so it's expecting a comma here because this is an object builder.query, and inside validate status we are going to check, we're going to return response dot status is equals to 200, that is okay status, and result should be error free. So result dot is error is RTK query allows us to use this keyword. Okay, so if this does not have error, then it's a valid status. Okay, that's all it does. And the most important thing we'd like to use is transform response. So we're going to use comma here because it's the other thing. So this intelligence give us transform response. So what this does is it transforms the response before it gets into the controller, I guess. So here we have three things: response, result, and error. So we'll see if result dot IDs, and we will be using this I'm sorry, question mark to check if IDs is null or not. If it is null, it's not going to give you that null error, null reference error. It's just going to make it undefined instead. So if result dot IDs, if there is anything inside IDs, then we're going to return, and what we will return would be type, and the type will be the name of model, which is node, and we're going to return ID, and it's going to be list because IDs, it has multiple, it's an array. Okay, and let's do comma here, and we are going to map IDs. Okay, so sorry, let's do something, let's make it clean. We did comma here, so let's result dot IDs dot map, we're going to map through IDs. So ID such that will return oh sorry, oh I'm sorry, let's do node such that node dot ID is equals to node dot underscore ID. We will be assigning node dot underscore ID, instead of node.id, okay? Because Mongoose database uses underscore id. If you see this result, our data have id with underscore. This is what MongoDB gives us. So we just changing this and we will return node. I guess that's all here, and we will also return this into we will assign this to the initial state. But you know what, it should be const new id. I guess there is some error here. Let's try to fix this. I'll, I'll go to Nodes API slice and see what's going on. Okay, let's copy this. Oh, I'm sorry. It actually, I copied something else. I copied. We were actually working right, I guess. Yeah, actually, we were doing. And that's exactly what it's supposed to be, I guess. And looks like we don't even need this. Because if there is IDs in the result, we do IDs.map. Let's check one more time. Okay, let's do something like this now. Let's remove everything before it gets too confusing. And let's do transform response and response data such that const new response equals response data dot map, and we'll name it node dot id will be replaced by node dot underscore id. Okay, and we are going to return this node, the new node, changed node. Okay, so and we're also going to return nodes adapter dot set all. We're going to set the nodes adapter initial state with this new response. Okay, that's all inside transform response, and we're going to use provide. Let's put a comma here and let's see, provides tags. Okay, in here we'll be passing response, result, and error. And what we would like to check is if result.ids, if there is IDs, then it's to this. If there's IDs, then return. We're going to return type as note and ID as a list. And let's save it. And let's do comma and we'll do result, spread operator, result dot IDs dot map. I'm going to map through the IDs and I'm going to make it ID. Set return type will be note once again, and ID will just be ID because we are mapping individual ID. Okay, that's all. And else return this. Let's copy this and inside bracket we're going to return this. Okay, okay, I guess this should be it. And now let's work on our hooks. So this is the endpoint, right? So we're going to use this endpoint and we're going to do const equals nodes API this file name. Okay, and we're going to paste the endpoint. Oops, this endpoint. Let's copy this and paste it here. So now let's add use in front of it and let's capitalize it with camel case, and in the end let's add query, and that is the hook created by RTK query. Okay, and we are able to use, let's export this, and we are able to import this hook in other components and use it and get the data. Okay, now we're also going to create a selector here, and to do that we have already imported this create selector. Let's see how we can use that here. Okay, export const select read notes is the endpoint, and I'd like to use result. First we will just get the result before creating the selector. Okay, and the result will be the name of our notes API slice, name of our file dot endpoints dot, the endpoint is read notes dot we'll chain it with select function. Okay, and that will give us the result, all the data. And to use this result, we need to transform it to the data. So let's do const select read notes data. This time is equals, let's use create selector, and we will be passing this, and here we will be passing result data. So it's that result data dot data. This will, sorry, there's a typo. Okay, dot data. Okay, that's it. So this will change this select read notes result to the data and assign it here inside this data, and we can use this to get selectors. It's quite confusing, but you'll get you'll understand it once we complete this project. And let's use export const, and we are going to use some keywords like select all by RTK query, select by ID. These are the words not defined by me but by RTK query. So equals nodes adapter dot get selectors, and inside get selectors we're going to pass this, okay, in this state. So state such that this state, let's save it. So we can select all the data using this select all, and select by ID, specific ID. We can get the data from node. We are going to assign a name, select all nodes, and we're going to give this name select nodes by ID, and let's save it. Just because we don't want to use select all in every models, we're going to do model specific so that we understand that select all nodes will only select all the nodes from the model node. Okay, and let's save it. And I think that is all in nodes API slice. Now let's work just a little bit on our read nodes.js. Let's split the screen and see here. So if you remember, we had this hook automatically created by RTK. We're going to use this hook over here. So let's do const object, and we're going to use this, and it's going to be a function. Okay, and inside this we are going to get data. We're going to get is success, error, is loading. Okay, and we're going to rename data with nodes because we want to make it specific to model. Okay, and if you see, this is error that I had used just a while ago. Here, this one, this is where I got it from. Okay, RTK query automatically generates all these for us, so we don't have to worry about error handling and all those. Okay, moving ahead, let's save this, and so we'll do let content. Now if is loading, if it's loading, we're going to assign content equals h2, and we're just going to pass this in h2. Okay, if is error, error occurred. Scroll just a little bit and type is success, and we will be doing most of the things over here. So it's inside the bracket. Don't use if. So if it's success, what happens? Okay, so if it's success, then we are going to use this data, no, which is we renamed it to nodes. So we're going to do destructuring here. So const IDs from nodes. So we're just getting IDs table from nodes. We can also get entities. So let's do nodes because we have IDs and entities. Okay, and we are going to const table data equals, we're going to map IDs. Okay, IDs dot map, and let's name it node ID. And inside node ID, we're going to pass this nodes component, and inside nodes component I'm going to give key value as node ID, and I'm going to pass node ID as node ID, and let's save it. And now let's scroll down just a little bit, and let's see what else we can do. So we can type content equals, and we're going to use table tag, and inside table header here, and I have the h tag as title, and let's save it. And below table head, we're going to add table body, and we're going to pass this uh, table data inside table body. Okay, I'm not going to add any tr and td right now, and we will be passing this content inside our return method. And let's save it. And as you can see, I use this component which does not exist, so let's create it. Let's add notes.js, I'll do RAFCE, and let's go to read notes, and let's bring this, let's copy this node ID, and let's use it here. So we're going to use this ID to get to use our selectors. Okay, so let's import select nodes by ID, and also let's import use selector. And let's save it. Okay, so const node equals going to use selector, and it's a function, and inside use selector we're going to pass a state such that select nodes by ID. Sorry about that typo. So it has two things. It has state and ID, and that ID would be this node ID. Let's copy this and paste it here. This should give you the uh, details of that node ID. And let's copy this node, and here we're going to use tr and we're going to do node dot title. Dot description. Here we're going to add a button for edit and delete. Let's save it. Still have an error going on here. Let's see. So we are if we click on read notes, it says use read notes query is not defined at read notes. Let's see what's going on inside read notes. It says it's not defined. So we need to import, and let's save it. That should fix this problem. Let's refresh. Notes is not defined inside read notes. Okay, so go to read notes, and so we had added this notes new component. So let's import it. We have a lot of errors. So let's see. So it's saying use selector is not a function inside notes.js. So go inside notes.js, saying use selector is not a function. Let's see in our code what's going on. So use selector is from React Redux, not RTK. It's really good that we're troubleshooting this all together. Very helpful to understand. So all the errors are gone, and we actually were able to get the data. If we click on edit, nothing happens because we have not written any code for edit and delete. And that's all I wanted to show you for today. Next video will be up in few days, maybe tomorrow, and I will be pushing the code on my GitHub repository if you need it. And thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment. Thanks.